Hey guys, this is the first video in a series aiming to make Guild Wars 2 raiding simpler to comprehend and get into for new players, and maybe make some aspects of it easier for current raiders. The existing raids have been out for a while, and a lot of players are familiar with them, and even many pug groups can be very successful and jump right into a raid and are able to beat it smoothly enough. But if you're still unsure about getting into raids, or if you're struggling with builds or encounters, hopefully this series will help. Now, I'm not an expert raider by any means. I have done every raid encounter at least a few times, but I still struggle with mechanics and bosses, and I have attempted raiding on every class, but I'm definitely not an expert on any of them. So I'm not going to be giving you the min-max meta scenarios and tactics. If that's what you're looking for, I suggest you check out the Guild Quantify and their website or something similar. My goal is only to give you the knowledge that will make you viable and not suck at raids. Hopefully, no guarantees. First, I would just like to go over some useful tips and tricks that I've found throughout my raiding experiences. The first thing I always tell people who are getting into raids is, know your class and know the encounter. Now this is pretty vague, but what I mean by this is don't just go to the QT website, copy the build without even reading what your traits and skills do, and jump into a raid and expect to be good. When you do find a viable build you want to play, read every trait and skill around it. Know your class's potential as best you can. Also, Guild Wars 2 has a feature known as the DPS Golem located next to the raid lobby. Get in there or find a commander that will let you in, practice your rotation over and over again. If you memorize your rotation and your skills and learn what role your build is for the fight, DPS, tank, healer, support, it'll be one less thing you have to panic about during the actual raid fight. And once you have your rotation memorized for the most part, you can learn the mechanics. Watch YouTube videos of the encounters, and get in there and experience them for yourself. Learn the tells before certain attacks, what to dodge and what to jump over, and so on. This series will include examples of various viable, simple builds to play, as well as comprehensive guides on the encounters. Also, the comment section of all my videos are available if you need answers to any Guild Wars related questions. I'd recommend starting with one class to be your main, and learn completely before trying to bring another class in and learning that as well. Same with the fight. Start with a few easy ones to do a few times, and learn those before you start learning all the others. Take it slow. You'll probably hear something known as the raiding meta, which is the perfect scenario, and played by a veteran Guild Wars 2 player is the best class or tactic in raids. There are best builds and tactics for raids, but most times they're very difficult to execute, especially if you're new. The meta exists, but it's not the be-all and end-all. Find out what build and what tactics work best for you and your group. Don't smash your head against impossible rotations trying to reach the highest DPS, when realistically, you will fail and you will wipe. Play something easy yet still viable. I've out-DPS'd so many people trying to play meta builds and failing while I'm on my slightly easier build that are not meta, but much more viable in that scenario. Hopefully that makes sense. Once you understand your build and you're trying your hand inside raids, there are some things you can do to help you improve. I would recommend you watch full raid videos on YouTube of people playing your role and try to learn from that. Also, if you're able to record yourself playing and review it after the fight to see where you could have executed skills better or dodged certain mechanics and so on, that will help a lot. I use the free program OBS to record my footage. It's very helpful. Also, you can download a DPS meter to see where you're at in comparison to the rest of your group, to see how well you're performing. You can use that tool to see boon up times if you're a support class as well. Do not use this tool to criticize others for their DPS or rotations. It should only be used for self-improvement or if you're going to give others positive, helpful advice. I cannot stress that enough. That said, I use Arc DPS. All links to these will be in the description. There's also a tool, Guild Wars 2 Taco, which can help with certain mechanics, especially for Sabbatha and Matthias. This next one is more of a luxury that many may not have, but has helped me out substantially. It's a Razer mouse with many programmable buttons, allowing me to have all my skills on my mouse for easy access and the ability to execute my rotation more simply. I also use macros, which allow me to program multiple skills to one button to fire skills more rapidly. Now these are not necessary, and if you're good enough with your rotation, there isn't any advantage. But if you think this would be worth it to help you out, I would recommend it. And lastly, I would say give yourself a goal. Work towards something. For example, I want to beat all the bosses in Wing 1 this week, or I want to reach above 20k DPS on this boss, or I want to complete this achievement. It will give you drive. Also, I mentioned earlier how it's not always a good idea to follow the meta strictly, but I would suggest that you watch videos of people who do play the meta, and work towards that with your class. Don't just settle for a super easy, mediocre build. It's good to start small, but work on it. Get better, it feels good to improve and get better gear and better rotation and better results overall. I hope these were all helpful. Stick around for my build and encounter videos to come, and put your suggestions to new raiders in the comments and let me know if I missed anything. See y'all on the next one. Thanks.